The Meek Mill saga continues. If you've seen the previous videos in the series or just paid attention to rap a bit around 2015 to 2018, then you probably know that Meek was beefing with multiple rappers like West Coast Game, Canada's own Drake, and even Safari from New York. This time though, I'm going to talk about Meek beefing in his own city, Philadelphia, with none other than one of the most well-known rappers from Philly, the Broad Street Bully, Beanie Sigel himself. Formerly signed to Roc-a-Fella and the head of the rap group State Property featuring members like Freeway and Petey Crack, Meek and Beanie have a history that goes back years before the beef, however. They first collaborated on the Meek Mill track, This Is How We Do It, from Meek's Mr. Philadelphia mixtape back in 2010, and then Beanie was featured again on Meek's Dreamchasers mixtape on the title track. Meek even brought Beanie Sigel and State Property out during his Welcome Home concert in 2015 after being released from prison. That same year, Beanie also made a post regarding the whole Meek beef with Drake and A.R.A.B., essentially stating that he isn't siding with either of them and warning them that things could get violent if it continues. Meek and Beanie Sigel started beefing in the midst of the Meek Mill and Game beef in 2016. Check out that video if you haven't yet for more details. But Sean Kingston getting robbed in June 2016 led to the beef of Game. Game dropped the diss track 92 Bars, which led Meek, O'Malley, and Beanie Sigel to come back with a diss track using the same beat as the hit single by Young M.A. titled Ooh. Beanie had the lines, "One phone call, I'm in LA in 3 hours, the bully, please don't bring me out of retirement." Game then responded with the track, Pest Control, which also used that same beat and included a diss towards Beanie with lines like, "Yeah, take beans back to rehab, on Instagram looking like a mother effing beanbag." Beanie Sigel then on an interview stated that he helped write the Ooh track for Meek Mill and O'Malley. Apparently this wasn't something Meek took kindly to, as Beanie was then assaulted during the Philadelphia stop of the Bad Boy reunion tour, allegedly by Dreamchasers member Tiffy Bay. That Game and Meek Mill beef now had Beanie beefing with Meek himself. Shortly afterwards, Tiffy had an interview with Hip Hop Since 1987 in which he stated his relationship to Meek, that being his aunt marrying Meek's uncle, making them family through marriage.
Explain your relationship with the Dreamchasers, how that came about, because tons of people, they don't know your role in this whole beef, but they see you around the city with the Chasers all the time.
Well, Meek been my man, like I told y'all. Been New talking to them. We all from South Philly, O'Malley and everybody. We all just knew each other growing up, and my uncle was married to my aunt. That's how I got a close relationship with the Chasers. You know what I'm saying? And the whole thing with the beef and everything, it just, they my guys. You know what I'm saying? So, all day, 24/7, not just when the cameras is on. You know what I'm saying? When the cameras is off, we together. You know what I'm saying?
He also spoke on the situation between Game and Meek, as well as Beanie getting punched at the concert, and says that Beanie was essentially a backstabber for talking to Game.
So another thing that we've been getting hit up a lot about was the Bad Boy reunion concert that was just in Philly.
Right.
We heard rumors that Beans was recently beat up at the concert. Do you know anything about that?
Do I know anything about it? Yeah, I know about it.
What happened with that situation? What happened with that situation?
What happened with it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think he passed out from his diabetic medication. It's like, nah. Hey, man, you know, everybody know what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But y'all see how I just explained all that history to y'all? How he pray and bump and niggas got respect for him, and how we let him come to the studio to jump on the joint and all that. And then he backdoor niggas with gaming them, telling niggas information that only the camp know. And not the information that you wrote something, because you didn't. The information was more worse than that, y'all.
Within a few days of Beanie getting attacked, he had an interview with Taxstone on the Tax Season podcast where he went into detail regarding his involvement in the Meek Mill beef with Game and also spoke on Meek's beef with Drake as well. He mentions that he wrote the majority of O'Malley's second verse and that he helped them with the diss track in order to get close to Meek.
Once I heard that they was in there and they was doing their diss record, The Game, all right, this is how I'm gonna get Meek to feel comfortable to come around me. I go there, I didn't write O'Malley's first verse, I didn't write all of his second verse, but the majority of it. That's facts. Niggas is playing games, lying and saying I ain't write that shit. Stand up for the other brothers that was in the room who know that.
He also mentions that if he knew that Game had mentioned him positively on the 92 Bars track, that he never would have helped Meek and O'Malley with the diss track.
If I would have known that Game bigged me up in a diss record before that one, I would have went about my move on how I was trying to get next to Boy in a different light. Me and Game got a rapport.
After Beanie was attacked, Game's manager Wack 100 made a video talking about Meek being to blame for the incident.
Yo, check this out. Y'all niggas went back there and put y'all hands on Beans, my nigga. On Power Rule, everything Power Rule stand for. Beans ain't told me shit about nothing. Now, if you pay attention to where this problem come from, and all go back to your man Meek, that nigga Beans been carrying Philly on his back for 20 plus years. Y'all violate that man in front of his wife and his kids, my nigga. That nigga ain't told us nothing, my nigga. Whoever the fuck did that need to be dealt with, my nigga. 100, it's all love, my nigga. Philly represents the P, nigga, but it's Power Rule, nigga. Y'all need to deal with that nigga Meek, tell him to get back in the booth, my nigga. Y'all did that to Beans, what y'all doing with this other nigga, my nigga. Fix that.
The Pest Control video was released around this time, which included a clip of Beanie Sigel getting knocked out at the concert in the outro of the video. After the Beanie interview with Taxstone, Meek Mill responded by posting messages from Beanie Sigel talking about Meek positively and a negative message about Lil Uzi Vert, the next big star from Philadelphia, essentially calling Beanie a snake as well. Meek Mill afterwards was on the Funkmaster Flex show, and during his freestyle, he took shots at 50 Cent, Beanie, and Drake. On October 4th, the BET Hip Hop Awards aired and State Property had a cypher. Meek Mill then tweeted taking credit for setting up the cypher, stating that he gave BET the idea. Considering the cypher was recorded in September, before they started beefing, it's understandable that Meek would help out. Then on October 6th, Beanie Sigel released the diss track, I'm Coming, aimed at Meek Mill. Outside of the odd tone of the intro, Beanie sets off the song with plenty of heat for Meek, beginning his first verse with the lines, somebody gotta die, either this guy or this guy, either way somebody mama throwing a fish fry, bigger the beef, bigger the clip size, Home Depot trips, duct tape, zip ties, was gonna leave it dead, let ish slide, but niggas pushing my F it button, I gotta F up something, I'm thinking churches and Hertz's. And ends his verse with the lines, it is what it is, but we ain't gonna dwell though, if ish hit the fan, cuz just don't tell though. That being a reference to the game's allegation that Meek is a snitch. Threatening lines and wordplay towards Meek continue on with third verse lines, you drew that line so I'ma cross it, now lay in between them lines when they chalk it, catch you at the Clearport, extra cartridge, ain't no jets departing, only death departing, Teterboro with the burl, exercise the plan, understand you ain't never too fly to land. He also makes a reference to Tiffy Bay sneaking him at the concert with the lines, a sucker way out is to steal him, face said look him in his eyes before you kill him. Nigga, you weak for real. You did that for Meek, you shoulda did it for Mills. Chick, you shoulda did it for real. Got niggas checking under cars before they get in their wheels. It's a plenty good diss track from Beanie once again, and throughout the song, Beanie makes multiple references to Biggie as well, like back on course with no remorse, like the fat guy from Bed-Stuy kicking doors. If you know about the Jadakiss and Beanie Sigel beef, then you probably know how Beanie gets down already with the diss tracks. If you want to see more about how that beef went, then make sure to check out the video after this. Beanie came with a diss track the very next day titled Good Night. In this heartfelt track, Beanie starts off by mentioning his wife and family, letting us know from the very beginning that he has more to live for than just himself. He goes on to express his rough childhood and turning to the street to survive with lines like, I got no room for error, absent father gave me my survival skills, so if I gotta rob and steal to provide the meals, so be it. This track can be really seen as Beanie really trying to put Meek in his place, as shown with lines like, me, the reason Philly even on the map, me, the reason your silly ass rap. Essentially stating that Meek wouldn't even have the opportunities he's had if it wasn't for Beanie, an older rapper who's established himself in the rap game who's from the same city. Several more lines questioning Meek's street credibility compared to his own, as well as his standout songs like What's Your Life Like, with its haunting realism, and of course the classic Feel It in the Air. Just like the previous track, this one came at Meek hard. I'm the dad you never had, what's your problem nigga, I'm like your father figure. And with that being said, daddy's here to put the kids to bed. Now get your ass upstairs, and I better not hear that TV on SP chasing niggas with that DC on, and whoever siding with him, dying with him. I can keep going about this track, but it's probably unneeded. Just go listen to the song after this if you haven't heard it yet. Beanie then had an interview on The Breakfast Club and talked about the whole situation with the game and Meek Mill.
Provide me, what loyalty, with who? He ain't provide me no opportunity. He ain't called me and asked me to do that. I did that. I walked into, Meek wasn't even there. It was just O'Malley in the studio.
Oh, so O'Malley called you to the studio?
No.
Meek called you to the studio?
No.
So how'd you get to the studio? Who called? Like, how did you know they were?
It wasn't no call. It wasn't no call. It was somebody told me, Lil Top, Meek cousin, yo, O'Malley in the studio, they recording something. I go in there, this what y'all doing? I wasn't even gonna get on it. I was just like, all right, XYZ, help him out. Nah, you gotta do this, bro. Say this. I went in and referenced the track for him, and they just kept that part in there with my vocals. 2 bars. That's all I said. I don't even think it was a whole 2 bar. Maybe it been a bar. 2 bars. So they just kept my voice in there. But I ain't get no phone call. Matt, come help, come ride, come do that. That ain't go down. I told y'all that on Task Point. I ain't get a call from O'Malley. I ain't get a call from me. They in the studio. I went to the studio. What's the situation?
This is also the same interview where he and Charlemagne had that heated back and forth as he was questioning Beanie on how he handled the situation with Meek in a way that Beanie clearly didn't appreciate.
Now, we've had some opinions about each other over the past month or so. I heard you on Tax Podcast.
Yeah.
And then, I was questioning you with your diss records, man. You sounded like a hater lately, man.
A hater?
Yeah.
How you say that? A hater?
Because I feel like, you put out 2 diss records, but then you was in the studio with Meek like 8 days prior to the first diss record. And I'm like, if anybody else did that, I think you'd be saying that was a sucker move. That's kind of snakish.
I don't think you qualified to even say I sound like a hater because you don't know all the particulars. So how you qualified to say I'm a hater? Hate on what?
Well,
and why?
I'm just telling you based
but
on what
why do you say I'm a hater?
Because, everything is that used to be me and I used to be in that position. And
when did you ever hear me say that?
On Tax Podcast. Absolutely, you said that. You was like, yo, he can't rap better than me, which could be a fact. And, that used to be me. People come up to me all the time and say, when you was in that position, Beans, things was better. It wasn't like that. So
do that sound, that's a hater or me giving some advice to somebody to move a little different? Did you not also hear me say, I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did? So is that me schooling somebody or sounding like a hater?
It sounds like no disrespect, but then you disrespect them.
Beanie also stated again that he did help write the verses for the game diss track, to which Meek and O'Malley still weren't happy about, and more posts were made online regarding that situation. Shortly afterwards, Beanie released the video for a track titled Gang Gang, which has Beanie spitting generally threatening lyrics. I suppose he was doing his own rendition of a drill song, which at the time had become an immensely popular subgenre. However, it can also be seen as another diss track to Meek, considering how soon after the other 2 tracks it was released. However, it wasn't nearly as direct as the other 2 tracks were, but what do you think? Meek Mill and O'Malley had responses on Instagram and Twitter, but for whatever reason, they didn't seem to come back at Beanie on wax. Certain details about the beef coincided with the beef Meek had with the game, so to avoid repeating myself too much, I'll say again to check out the previous video in the Meek Mill saga if you haven't yet. One example, however, is the whole conversation that Beanie and Game had on the phone where they talked about Meek Mill and how Beanie even got involved. Then of course there's the interview Meek had on the Tax Season podcast where he spoke on his issues with people like Drake and Game. Unlike the beef between Meek and Safari, where there were a bunch of social media posts and very few diss tracks going back and forth, Beanie Sigel is from the old school and he shows it. He came at Meek on wax, just how I like. In a 2017 interview with Vlad TV, AR Ab, who Meek had beef with for a time as well, chimed in on the situation between Meek and Beanie and stated that a bunch of Philly rappers, them included, were planning to do an album together, but that was squashed due to what happened between Meek and Beanie, and also stated that he feels like Beanie backstabbed Meek by talking to Game about him and dissing him.
You mentioned, I think in an interview, I forgot who it was, it might have been This Is 50, but you said that before the incident when Beanie Sigel got punched, like a bunch of the Philly rappers were supposed to get together and like do a song or a project or something?
Yeah. Before the Yeah, fucking, when that shit happened with the game shit, you know, Bean was in the studio with O'Malley and the Meek came down there, and then, you know, fucking Tiffy and them called my phone. Tiffy and Daoud called my phone, like, yeah, Meek, I'm in the studio, and we all going. I said, fuck it, man. They called my phone, we gonna put an album together, a Philly album. You know what I'm saying? It's me, it's you, Meek, Beans, and you know what I mean? We're gonna try to get a couple other artists. And I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And the next day, they found out Beans did the nut shit called, I mean, you know, he called him and talked, you know what I mean? And then I guess Meek felt like, man, every time I tried to help out, you know what I mean? This is what I get, man. Beans stabbed him in his back, man. And that kind of like put a damper and everything. Cause Meek, like, man, every time I try to help out, man, shit like this happened, man. You know what I mean? Beans said that, it stabbed him in his back. They was in the studio, there was no excuse to do it. I had no issue with Beanie Sigel either, but that was our one shot at like everybody coming together like like that, and everybody was with it. Everybody was with it, from the P&B Rocks to Meek, to me, O'Malley, Sigel. They called all of us. Everybody was we all supposed to come and start laying verses and tracks. And then that shit, Means did this shit, man, and it turned everybody off. It made people don't trust people no more. Like it was like the last hope of trust. Motherfuckers don't got no trust.
Beanie Sigel then in 2018, after Meek released his Championship album, made a post online in support of the album. So you can say by that point the beef between the two was over and done with. What do you think about the beef between Meek Mill and Beanie Sigel? Do you think Beanie was a backstabber to Meek by talking the game like he did and releasing those diss tracks? Does Meek Mill really have Twitter fingers? Personally, I think Beanie killed it on the diss tracks, and it would have been nice to see Meek come back lyrically as well. Meek Mill moved on from this beef to still put out albums that sold well. But what do you think? As always, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click that thumbs up button if you liked the video. Join the Discord to come talk with me and others about rap and more, and of course, become a channel member to help support the channel further.